on one card, any one of you. You focusing on one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm going to try and work out which one you focused on. And I'm going to remove it from the... I'm going to remove it from the border. Okay. Moved it now. Is your card still there?
No. Yes. Mine is there.
Yes.
I bet you none of your cards are there.
No. The ones that
My
I
card
can
is
move
the
it.
one I
It's a
put
different
was
set of cards.
no, but it's a different color now. But
It's a different set of cards.
Yeah.
Aha! This is good, well noticed. And most people don't, because they're not relaxed. That shows you're very relaxed. Most people are so focused on the card that they've chosen, they don't notice when you put it back, a completely different set of cards up there. So one of the things to do, if you know, is if you're trying to meet your, be open to new opportunities. Children always notice straight away you've got a different set of cards up there. Children always do it. There's a wonderful, which I'm not going to show you today. I did bring the video along, but I'm not going to show you. A wonderful example of this, an experiment called "Did You Spot the Gorilla?" I don't know whether any of you have seen this.
Yeah,
It's a very short video. It was put together at University College of Los Angeles about 10 years ago. And what you see in the video, 30-second video, is 6 people, 3 people with white t-shirts on, 3 people with black t-shirts on. And the 3 people with white t-shirts on, they're throwing a basketball to each other. And the 3 people, you've seen it?
Yeah.
And the 3 people with black t-shirts are throwing a basketball to each other. And for those of you that don't know, the job you set the audience is to count how many times in 30 seconds the 3 people with white t-shirts on throw their ball to each other. So you run the video. At the end of it, you say, well, how many times did they throw the ball? And they say 15, 13, 13, 12, 13, 5. Did you notice anything funny about that video, any peculiar? Most people, and the cleverer they are, I have to say, the less they notice, most people say no. You see, well, right in it, the middle of it, a man in a black gorilla costume walked in front of the camera, stood there and banged his chest and walked off again. Most people don't see it. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And the reason is, when you set people a task like that, and you say, concentrate on doing that, most adults are very good at concentrating. And when they're concentrating so hard, they don't even see something which is right under their nose happening. Children, your children, any of you with kids here, I don't know when only my kids are small, they will not only see the gorilla, or the monkey as they'll call it, they'll also be able to tell you accurately how many times their ball has passed, because they're more relaxed. So you've got to get to that more childlike, amazed feeling. You've got to get that feeling going every day. Be more childlike, be more sort of playful in your sort of outlook. It's a game, life. You're only here for 80 years, 90 years if you're lucky. As my old mother-in-law used to say, life is a short holiday from eternity. Because most of eternity you're here, neither am I. So make the best of what you've got. That's a little thing there. So be more relaxed, and like Matthew, you'll see it's a completely different set of cards. You can actually look at it on YouTube. Just do, did you spot the gorilla? If you show other people who've never seen it before, you've got to make, because most people have seen it these days, it's about 10 years old now, they won't tend not to see the gorilla. Especially if you set them up and you say, well, this is quite a difficult thing to do, you really have to concentrate. You're just priming their thinking, this is going to be difficult, I've got to concentrate, Now, the people in the white t-shirts, you concentrate on them, how many times they throw it. Da, 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 da. You see, you didn't see the gorilla. And when you see, I've seen Darren Brown, the magician. You know Darren Brown, the magician?
Yeah.
I've seen him do it at the Strand Theatre. He said on this side of the stage, he said, I'm going to place a bowl with some bananas in it. And in a minute, during the show's 2.5 hours long, a gorilla is going to come and take them away. At the end of the show, everybody suddenly noticed the bananas are gone. With nobody in the audience, so about 500-600 people have noticed the gorilla coming and taking them away. People who are very wealthy and successful think the rest of us are walking through life fast asleep. Because opportunity walks through your life every day. So next time somebody says, can you, in your business, don't say no. Say, what do you want to know for? No? What's your thought on that? Like, I do sales training, but then somebody in February last year said, do you do leadership training? And I could have said no. But I said, what are you looking for? What are you asking? And No, well, I want something like this. What's the problem you've got in your company? It's this and this. Suddenly we've got 4 huge programs running right into this time next year. So be open. Say, well, what's he asking that question? Be open to say, not say, no, I don't do that, I'm not interested. Why are you asking me? Could be interesting. You're walking down the street, say, why doesn't somebody, I was thinking this morning, it wasn't a very good invention. I was watching a lady, she had her telephone out like this, and she was also looking at her reflection doing her makeup. And I suddenly thought of an app you could put on there, that, like a mirror, but of course the lens is on the back of the thing, it's no good. I thought, oh, you could have a mirror app. You know? But of course, if, as the, you're doing lunch now?
No, just
Somebody got hungry. You see what I mean? But just think, you're not every idea you're going to come up with is going to be great, but just think, oh, am I missing something here? If there, my brother, who's trying to run a business, he's not very good at it. He said, I said, why do you say so? I was a handyman, he lives way down in Kent. He said, well, there's lots of people setting themselves up as handyman. I said, well, then try and find a little niche market. Be the man that paints front doors. No, exactly. Be the front door man. Try and find a niche where you're not just a handyman. Be the man that builds chicken coops for farmers. You know, the chicken coop man. The specialist. You know, something that makes you different from just being the fashion expert. Do you see what I mean? Try and find that little extra thing. I wish there was somebody who, I mean, we used to have, when I first started work, used to be a lady that came around once a week that sanitised our telephones. And that also went out of fashion when they said you can't pick up stuff from telephones. But now they're discovering you can pick up stuff from telephones. People who don't wash their hands after being in the toilet, they're finding all sort of, you know, scientists analyse phones now, they're very dirty. You would start that again. We'll disinfect your phone, stop diseases in your office, stop snuffs and colds, and come around once a week and spray a bit of, I don't know, Dettol on the phone, polish it up. Who says, have you, and you say, well, there wouldn't be a business for that. Have you tried yet? No, you haven't.
yeah. HR issue.
£10, you know, you do something like so many, £10 a month, you come around once a week for every phone in your place, come around to somebody, put them, wouldn't have to work very hard, would you? To earn £1,000 a week, or 2,000, get an army of people working for you. Why can't you do it? You only need a little thing of Dettol surface cleaner, I don't know. Anyway, that's an idea. There are hundreds of ideas out there. Just go and have one. It hasn't got to be something you're doing now. Something that somebody says, why isn't there followed by that? And you say, well, why isn't somebody invented? Because they're too lazy. You go and do it. Don't spend a lot of money on stuff. Just put a little card around your local Sainsbury's and Tesco's offering the service. Make some leaflets up if you can't do that. You've got to send them to companies around where you live. You know, you could buy a ream of cheap paper in the shop, do some A5 leaflets, cut them in half, and go and do them. See what happens. See if anybody wants to buy your idea. I've often thought, I mean, houses are difficult to sell at the moment. Why don't you go, and if you watch any of these makeover programs on the telly, they always say, don't they, and these ladies that kind of do the makeovers, the first thing you have to get sorted out if you're trying to sell a house is the front. Because when people are driving by in their car with the details, they look at the front, it looks crap, and the shitty old front door with paint peeling off it, and the garden all a mess, you're not going to go in there. Well, you could offer a service to estate agents, we're going to tidy up the front of people's houses. You know, we're not going to do a deep job, but we'll paint the front door a different colour, we'll do a quick cosmetic job over the window frames, everything else. Terraced house, one day's work, £500. A slightly bigger semi-detached house, just do the front, £750. For a house that isn't selling, you just go and tidy it up in a day. You'd be clearing between £500 and £700 every day doing this. Then you have 2 or 3 other people working for you. That's a little business you could start, dead easy. I'd call it curb appeal. Driving behind cars. 101 businesses like that you could start. What's stopping? Okay, what questions do you have about what we've discussed so far? Any? I'm going to take you straight on and show you how you can manipulate your mind around this, because I've covered a lot of ground this morning. Well, how am I going to remember it all? I'm going to show you how powerful your brain is. And if you came to see the first pilot we had of this at the Bishopsgate Institute, you will have seen this hour, so you'll probably help everybody else out. And I'm going to show you 2 things. Well, who was at Bishopsgate? Anybody? So this is for you, and I'm going to do it because I promised I would do it for the people that are here. But it's worth reinforcing it, isn't it? I bet you remember the story as well. Because I'm going to show you how you can remember 20, if I gave you a list of 20 items right now, and said that in 2 minutes' time you'll be able to repeat them all back to me backwards, do you think you could do it? List of 20 things. You try, but do you think you could do it?
Yes.
Well, that's good. Right? But if I also said to you that in 50 minutes' time from now, maybe a bit more, 40, I'm going to hold this board up in front of you and you're going to punch through it with your bare hands. Do you think you could do that?
No.
You're going to do it. I'm going to show you how. How many people did it last time we did it? Everybody. You're going to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
In fact, once you've done this, you're going to think, what else am I saying I can't do? Right? How many of you seen it before? Yep. Let's see it again. Let's remind you of the story, because this is very useful stuff. Now, what I want you to do when I'm telling you the story, remember, is visualize it. Don't write anything down. Visualize the story I'm going to tell you. Because each element of it is something very important for you becoming successful in your life. Right, over here is what? A soccer goal, remember? And across the mouth of the goal are lots of bits of wood somebody has nailed up. Over here is Thomas Edison. Now, what did Thomas Edison invent? What did he invent, Thomas Edison? The light bulb. You remember that all those years ago? And you see, because you're sitting there watching this game of soccer, you see Thomas Edison standing there holding his light bulb. And as you watch, Thomas Edison takes the bulb and he kicks it, and it sails through the air, goes through the pieces of wood, and into the goal. And when that happens, the crowd goes mad. Now, when I say that, the crowd goes mad, I want you to say, hooray! And so the crowd goes mad.
Hooray!
Do better than that. The crowd goes mad.
Hooray!
And when that hooray happens, out of the crowd comes a model carrying a cake. Could be a man. And she carries the cake over to somebody sitting in the crowd. And he's got a number 10 badge on. He's one of these guys who plays from a 10, like we've been saying today. And on a scale of 1 to 10, he's up there. Woo! He's a kick-ass man. When he comes through the door, the ladies say, hey, there's an alpha male. He's walking along, right? He's got this sort of feeling. And the model hands the cake to the man with a 10 badge on, this alpha male. And the crowd goes mad again.
Hooray!
But sitting next to the man with a 10 badge on is a guy, or it could be a lady in this case, who's got a number 1 badge on. 1. And she's looking very miserable. She's not, but she's... No, but sitting next in this case. I want to spread it around a little bit. Otherwise I'm always over here. And she's looking very miserable. And she's sitting not on a seat, but on a vending machine. A drinks vending machine, you know. And she looks very unhappy, and she's crying. And she's crying so much, she's crying her eyes out. In fact, she's crying her eyes out so much, her eyeball actually falls out into a cup of lemonade which has just come out of the vending machine. Yeah. And it goes into the into the cup, and fizzy bubbles come up and form themselves into a question mark. So let's see how much of this you remember. What's over here?
Gold.
What's
Boarded up.
all boarded up with a few gaps in between. Who's over here? What's he got? What does he do? He goes in. Where does he go? Through the bits of wood? What does the crowd do?
Hooray!
Who comes out of the crowd? A model. Could be a man. Could keep a fair balance here. Right. And what's she carrying?
The cake.
And what does she do with it?
Give it to number 10.
Give it to the number 10 guy.
Yeah.
Right? Give it to the number 10 guy. What does the crowd do?
Hooray!
Who's sitting next? Good morning.
Lady.
Afternoon now. Sitting next to the number 10
Number
Number
1.
1.
is a number 1. What's he or she doing in this case?
Crying.
Miserable. What's she sitting on?
Vending machine.
What happens when she's crying?
She cries her eyes out.
Eyeball falls out. Where does it go?
In the lemon.
What happens to the fizzy bubbles? See, you said you couldn't remember any of this. You said you remembered all that. You remembered half the things already. By the way, what I've got to tell you is I'm not a motivational speaker. That's not what I do. I just use this trick to remember all the things I've got to do. When I was working for Xerox in Croydon about 20, 30 years ago, every Friday, once a month, they used to think that we had to have a motivational session to motivate us, to get us out there in the Old Kent Road selling copy machines. And we used to have a different guy every month used to come on to try and motivate us. And we'd take the Croydon Conservative Club on once a month on a Friday, we'd all sit there, and then they'd introduce this month's Mr. Motivator Man, and he'd come on and give us a lot of old American bullshit and everything else. And at the end of 2 hours, we'd all be sitting there thinking, great, we won, we're still demotivated. And he used to slink off. This isn't about motivation. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about positive action. That's what makes this very different, this stuff. Okay. Now, think of that question mark made of bubbles. And on top of it is a big green leaf, balanced. And flying around that big green leaf, balanced on the question mark made of bubbles, is a huge Walt Disney black and yellow bumblebee. He's flying round and round with the bumblebee. And as you look, you watch this, see this bumblebee starts to spit out distilled water. Loads and loads of it. And it goes down into a terracotta pot, which is on the ground, and in the bottom of that terracotta pot is 10 seashells. And walking around the edge of the terracotta pot, very slowly, is a grizzly bear. And he's wearing dancing shoes. And he's carrying this board, which is for one of you. Let's do the whole thing again, see what we can remember. What's over here? Gold. What's across it? Who's over here? What's he got? What does he do? Goes through the bits of wood into the gold. What does the crowd do?
Hooray!
What happens then? Model comes out of the crowd. Where does she go?
Give it to number 10.
What's she carrying? Sorry.
A cake.
She gives it number 10. What does the crowd do?
Hooray!
He's got a big smile on his face. He's very happy. But sitting next to number 10.
Number 1.
Tell me about number 1.
Sad, miserable, crying.
By vending machine.
That's right.
Sitting on the
Crying.
vending machine.
Crying her eyes out.
Eyes out.
And what happens?
Slide out of the socket
Yeah.
into a cup full of lemonade.
Lemonade. What happens?
Bubbles.
What do they form into?
Question.
Yeah, go on. What's on top of the bounce on top of the question mark?
A leaf.
A leaf. What's flying around there?
Bumblebee.
What happens? What does the bumblebee start doing?
Jumping
Distilled water.
Okay. And where does it go?
Into a
Into
terracotta pot.
Terracotta pot.
And what's in the bottom of it?
10
Shells.
What's happening around the top of the terracotta pot?
Grizzly bear walking around.
What's he wearing?
Dancing.
What's he carrying?
A boat.
That board. So you said you couldn't remember it. You won't be able to forget this story. Now let me tell you why not. Each one of those 20 items that I went through there is something that's going to help you get what you want. Now you had the first one first thing this morning, which was goals. You've got to have your goals, and I think you've got sorted out how to set your mind on these goals now, haven't you? You know how to do it precisely. You know how to do it in a way that most people don't know how to do. You're no longer going to have vague goals. Like, I'm going to set up an organisation, I'm going to be free, that doesn't mean anything to your brain. It's got to be very definite. Now your goals are very, very concrete and definite. Remember, most people don't have these goals. Or they try and imagine them without seeing that there are going to be some barriers. There are going to be all sorts of barriers. And those barriers aren't going to put you off anymore. You're going to think about, how are we going to get around them? And if you hit a barrier, you're going to find a way around it, and a way around it, until you find, you're going to persist until you get there. Which is why we have Thomas Edison over here. Now, how many experiments did it take Thomas Edison to make a light bulb, do you think? He did it in about 1870.
Thousands.
Yeah, I mean, he had to get a filament to burn inside a vacuum glass, and they didn't know how to do it. I can tell you, he did over 1,100 experiments. And he was very much a self-publicist, and he used to tell the New York Times what he was up to. And every year they would come down and run an interview with Thomas Edison. And they came down 2 years running to see him, and they said, have you done it yet? Have you invented the electric light bulb? And he said, no, I haven't done it. They said, well, aren't you disheartened? 1,100 experiments, and you still haven't got a light bulb. He said, no, I'm not disheartened at all. He said, I've just learned 1,100 ways not to make a light bulb. You see? He kept on going. I mean, children do this. Children know about persistence, don't they? Most of you here have got kids or have had kids or anything else. And you know when children are small, they crawl, don't they? Right? Then they look at their big brothers and sisters and you walking, and they say, hello, walking, that looks useful. Think I can walking and go. Right? So they go over to the sofa in the lounge, and you and your husband or your partner are sitting there watching, and the kid, without thinking, stands up, holding on the sofa. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And your husband or partner says, hey, look, holding on. They're not thinking about it because they're kids, right? The kid lets go and he's a bit wobbling, then they sit down, don't they?
Yes.
How many times did your child sit down like that, stand up and then sit down straight away before they learned to walk? Was it once?
Seven.
Was it 2 times?
No.
Was it 10?
No.
Was it 6?
No.
Did you at any time, after they'd fallen down the 20th time, said, I was no good, give up, you'll never learn to walk?
No.
Did the child, did your baby walk across and go, no, I'll never learn to walk?
No.
Did they do that?
No.
What do they do, children? What do they do?
Determined.
They keep it, they keep on going until they've got it. Hey, walking. That's smart. They don't worry about falling over, do they?
No.
That's what you've got to get to. Same as Thomas Edison. You've got to fall over a lot. That isn't an excuse for failing. Nothing beats persistence, not talent, not ability, and not education. It's one defining characteristic of successful people. They keep going. You know what it's like when your kids are getting a bit older and you're out on a hot sunny afternoon in Hyde Park, your local park. Mummy, can I have an ice cream? Mummy, can I have an ice cream? No, you can't.
No.
Mummy, I want an ice cream.
No.
Mummy, I want an ice cream. I want an ice cream. In the end, what do?
Oh,
Oh, for God's sake!
Zero.
You glass them with an ice cream and shut up! You look around your local Tesco's and Sainsbury's. Kids are always sitting in the chair, aren't they? In the basket with something in their mouth,
Yes.
eating something. They always got a bag of crisps.
Yes.
That's where you keep, because they keep on and on and on. You haven't got kids, you just wait and see, and they never shut up, do you?
No.
But that's the trick. You just keep on and on and on and on. When you get knocked down, you come back again, just like Thomas Edison. Persistence is the key. So you've got 2 things here I want you to write down. First thing is goals. Second thing, remind yourself, Thomas Edison and the light bulb, remind you about persistence. Now, when you fail as well, be pleased that you failed. You've learned another way not to do it. If you see somebody else in your team, in your family, fail at something, don't say to your kids or anything else, oh, you failed. You're useless. Say, hey, good go, good try at that. That's excellent. Good go, I'm glad you tried it. Go and have another bash. Woo! Imagine telling, if you went to one of your average friends who's not very successful and told them you had failures, they'd all say, oh, no, I knew that would happen. Then, how many friends have you got or people in your family when you try something new? I knew that would go wrong. I could have told you that. Last time that happened to me, I went to my friend and I said, here's my lottery ticket for next weekend, the lottery form. You fill it in because you're the only person in London who knows what's going to happen. And you're so clever. Now imagine going to tell your failures to somebody like Richard Branson, like one of the dragons on Dragon's Den. They'd say, yeah, go on. They've all got a history of having lots of failures. They bounce back again. That's the trick. Not just sitting down after your second go, going back at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Keep on bashing away. And when you break through, it's just a good feeling. You persist. You persist. I used to have, when I was living in New York, I used to have a lot of cold calls. I was running for Reuters, my management company, the company I worked for then. I was running what they call marketing communications, which is all the brochures and trade shows and everything else. And every day I must have got 5 cold calls from different companies trying to sell me advertising, copywriting services and everything else. And most people I could get rid of just by saying, no, I'm not interested, I've already got somebody. But there was a very small percentage who kept on calling me. Every month, it didn't matter what happened. And the surprising thing was, at the end of a year, I found I'd done business with all those people that kept calling. Because now, I might have said no this month, and next month, and next month, and next month. But then the 4th or 5th month, I might have had a problem. I thought, oh, I'm glad you called. Just a lucky... There used to be, when I was a young man, a teenager, and there used to be a very pretty girl in our group. And all the guys wanted to have dates with her and everything else, and none of us ever did. We all sort of asked her once, she got turned down. Then finally, one of my friends was suddenly going out with her. And we would say, how did you do it? And he said, I kept on asking her. And then she said, yes, fine. You know what I mean? This is real stuff. He didn't give up like we did. He kept going, and he's married to, been married over 40 years. That's fine. But the difference was he kept asking, most of us gave up. You've got to keep asking, keep going back, keep going back. It's not the number of times you get knocked down, it's the number of times you get up again. How many times have I finally, with a customer, somebody's turned me down 4 or 5 times, and I've given up with them, and after a year, I thought, I'll just give him a ring, see how he is. And you ring them up and they say, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing the business. They say, oh, you should have called me last week. We just didn't know you were still in this business. Have you ever happened to you? You just missed the boat by that much, by not having the courage or the persistence to keep on calling. Right? So next time somebody in your team or your family or your football team or anything fails, say, yeah, good try. That's good. Not, oh, God. You missed the goal again, did you? Remember, you miss every single goal that you never have a try at. Don't you? Reward yourself. You know, the chap who owns Yo Sushi, his name immediately slips my mind. He said the way he set up Yo Sushi, it was a bet. You know what Yo Sushi is? You know, with the sushi bars that the dishes go past you? They're all over London now, all over the world. It's a bet he had with somebody about 30 years ago in Tokyo Airport, watching the luggage go round. And he used to run pop concerts, and his friend said, let's have a bet. I bet you can't have a conveyor belt sushi bar. And he set it up, and when he was ringing around in London to try and find premises, most landlords were saying, what kind of business do you want to set up there, son? He said, oh, a conveyor belt sushi bar, that would never work. So most people turned him down. In the end, he said, I was so determined to do it, I kept persisting, and my target every day, my goal was to get 6 no's. No? Once he'd heard 6 no's on the phone, then that was his reward for the day. And through listening to 6 no's, that's what gave him his one success. When I was a young man, you know, all young boys at 17, 18, all they want to do is try and get to bed with girls. Just the way it is, can't help it. That's the way we're driven. And we had a friend of mine whose name is Harry the Milkman. And we would say, how you know, he was very successful with girls. We would say to him, Harry, how do you do it? And so I asked them all. I asked every one of them if they're sweet with me. And we said, don't you get your face slapped a lot? He said, yes, I do. He said, but I get more action than you do. Don't you get more failures than successes? He said, totally do. Absolutely. You do. You don't even ask. Ask every single one of them. And eventually somebody says, yeah, right. So that's the trick. Do you see what I'm saying? Persist. You've got to persist. Why do you think now we've got a model coming out of the crowd? Why do you think we've got a model coming out of the crowd? Because you can model yourself on people you admire. What I do, I'm not kind of direct heroes or anything like that. Whenever I've got a problem in my life and I sort of want to sort of be stronger or be more forceful in what I do, I always imagine Winston Churchill is still alive, because he ran the Second World War, as you know. And I always I shut my eyes and I imagine waiting outside his office, and he opens the door and he says to me, what is the problem? And I go in and tell him in my mind's eye. And he always says to me, what do you mean you can't make that telephone call? What do you mean you can't do this? You know? How stupid. You have him as sort of an imaginary mentor. And I just copy the example he gives me. Sometimes it's Richard Branson. You know? Somebody you admire and model. What would they say if you told them about this? Who could you model yourself on? Whose approach? Who could you copy in your mind's eye? Then imagine really taking your problem to them. What would they say to you? They wouldn't rubbish it and say, go away. They'd say, go on, go and do this, go and do that. Say, go and do it. Imaginary help you can model yourself on. Why is the model, do you think, carrying a cake? Why do you think the model's carrying a cake? Because I want you to remember that you mustn't, if you are unhappy with where you are in your life now, it's no good doing the same things tomorrow that have got you, that you did today, and you're going to do the next day and the next day. See, if I said to you I was going to one of these cookery programs on the telly, and I was going to show you how to make a cake, and I got some flour and some eggs and some sugar and some margarine, and I mixed them all up in a bowl, and I took my mixture over to the oven over here, which is switched on 200 degrees C, and I stuck it in the oven, and I left it there for 45 minutes. Under 45 minutes, out would come a cake, wouldn't it? Cake, cooked cake. If tomorrow I go up and did exactly the same amount of flour, sugar, margarine and eggs, exactly the same temperature, I mixed them in the bowl, poured them into the same sort of cake tin and everything else, took them over to my oven over here, left it there for 40 minutes, opened the oven door. Tomorrow the cake would look very much the same as it did today, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. And the day after and the day after. Would it, let's say next Wednesday, magically have cherries in it? Why not? Exactly, but most people do go through their lives doing the same things every day and expecting a different result. Don't they? People often say to me, "Oh, Bob, I'm so depressed." I say, "Really? How do you do that?" You must be doing something every day. No, nobody can make you depressed. You're doing it to yourself. And what would you be doing now? Let's just see if we can do depression, all of us. Do depression. Go on, do depression. Go on. No, see, that's not depression, that's smiling. Huh? Yeah. How would you do if you're depressed? Sigh, don't you? Sit as if you're depressed. Go on, sit depressed. Did you go to that sales mastery? It's terrible, wasn't it? Depressing. Useless. I'm not going to do another one of those again. Right, now let's do it as if we're really happy. We're at the other end of the scale now. We're not number down at number 10. Now, as if we're really interested, we're really going to take life and make it become what I want it to become. Look at you, what are you all doing? You physically moved, all of you. Everybody in the room. You put a smile on your face. Sometimes a forced smile. That's what you've got to do. That's what you do. Right? You're not going to do the same things. You know, you keep a record. On my bathroom mirror, here's a little bit of advice for you. On the left-hand side, when I get up in the morning, I'm having a shave. You ladies won't have a shave, but I do. The other 12, you don't have a shave, and a shave for a long time. But you can do it, it's just having a wash in the bathroom. On the left-hand side of my bathroom mirror, a little post-it note is now in a little encapsulated plastic thing. It asks me these questions, which I do when I have my teeth and having a shave. Here's the question, and you can do the same. What am I looking forward to achieving today? Ask yourself, write that down. What am I looking forward to achieving today? Second question. You're going to ask yourself this question. How can I have fun doing it? Have you got a spare book?
Yeah, I've got, it's just over there, so I didn't want to get in front of it.
How can I have fun?
That's the one, and then
How can I have fun doing it? How can I have fun doing it? I don't know about you, but I do not want to live my life in misery. I want to have fun. I want more and more people to say, "Hey, you look happy." Third thing is, how do I move when I'm unstoppable? How do I move when nobody can stop me? How do I move? How do I have my body with energy? What do I do? I mean, I rarely sit down. I've got to stand up.
If you feel good.
Yeah. See, so you ask yourself this. The first question you ask yourself in your little note, probably your shaving mirror, your makeup mirror, whatever you've got. What am I looking forward to achieving today? How can I have fun doing it? How do I move when I'm unstoppable? What's my physicality like? And the fourth thing, because I'm getting older, I'm older than most of you in this room, the fourth question is a very important one. How would I want to feel at the end of the day if this had been a really serious investment in my life? How would I want to feel at the end of today if this had been a really serious investment in my life? I don't want to waste my day. I don't want to sit there watching television. There's nothing on television. Television is for appearing on, it's not for watching. It is, isn't it? It's for appearing on, it's not for watching. I want to get myself on television, I want to get interviewed. Nothing on the telly, somebody else like Silent Cow making money. Go and do something else. There's 101 things to do. No? Nothing on the telly. There's nothing on television. Stop watching television. There's nothing on it. Get your ass in the gear, go and do something else. It's a waste of flipping time. There's nothing on it, apart from stuff that's going to drag you down a big hole. Television, no, it wasn't my line, by the way. Noel Coward, the famous impresario, said, television is not for watching, it's for appearing on. Be somebody who's out there. I used to look at when I lived in New York out of my apartment window, and millions of apartments you could see, in a big vibrant city like New York, people watching the television. Stop watching television. Go and start partaking in life. 95% of your competitors are watching television. Go and steal their business from them. Or in the pub complaining about something. Right? This is stuff, this is serious stuff now. So you model yourself on things and people you admire. People out there getting it all done. Okay. Again, we had somebody playing from a number 10. A big smiley fellow. Very rare, I've got to tell you. The Staces of the world, I call other celebrity get me out of here, are very rare. More common, and I'm only using you as a pretend example. You're not really a number 1 player, I'm sure. Right? Most people walk around somewhere between a 1 and a 5, don't they? Having an okay life. Okay is not good enough. You've got to get out there and start having a different life. When you feel a bit miserable, act the part of somebody who's happy. Just do a deal with yourself. I'm going to have my depression. But for 10 minutes I'm going to pretend to be happy. I assure you, 20 minutes, half an hour later, you will be really happy. Follow the example of Abraham Lincoln. Of course I was frightened, but I pretended not to be, and very soon I wasn't. Act as if for a few minutes. So do a deal with yourself. I pretend to be happy and everything else for 10 minutes. Get yourself moving around. Make a call to somebody, call somebody up. That's what you've got to do. Don't let yourself slide down into this number one hole. Now, those of you that go to work, you've probably in your office got a kitchen. Anybody got a kitchen in their office where they can make a cup of tea, cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Stay away from kitchens. Stay away from drinks cooling machines, water coolers. That's why we've got her imaginary seat as a vending machine. Stay away from fizzy drinks places and kitchens and anywhere like that in your company, canteens. Because they're not canteens, they're not kitchens, they are not water coolers, they are not fizzy drinks machines. They're all devices put there by some cunning old wizard to take the happiness out of your life. Because when anybody gets near the coffee machine or the canteen, they may have been happy to that moment, but they see somebody else from work. Oh, I'm fed up with this. Are you? Yeah. I'm going to get another job. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of it. So am I. Because you know the boss, yeah, he's an idiot. Well, no. Yeah, I'm leaving. I don't blame you, I'm going for an interview as well. No? That's all you hear around every canteen, every kitchen, every water cooler in the world. When anybody, they've been okay until now, then they get near it and they go down, down, down. When you're in the office, you're part of that problem. If you're mixing with those people that are always bloody complaining. If you have any of your colleagues who are like this, always a bit miserable, always complaining? Have any of you had colleagues like this? Here's the way to handle them. Listen to them for a few minutes. Go on, have a moment. Pretend to be your friend. Have a moment. Hello, go on, have a nice weekend. Was it? Where'd you go? Anywhere else? Oh, yeah. It's great Friday night. It's terrible when I'm bloody weekend. Christmas. Listen to them. They're having a complaint like this. Then after you've listened to them having a complaint for a few minutes, say, hey, you made me laugh. You're always pretending to be miserable. You had a great time last week. And I promise you, they will never want to be miserable with you again. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. Do you see what I mean? Just say, oh, God. Go on, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, you're always pretending to be miserable. Isn't it? They will never want to talk to you again. Which is great, isn't it? It's just life we're living through. It just happens to be like it is. Is it fair? No. Right? The people who are lucky aren't going through life without any problems. They just have a different attitude to the problem. They laugh at it. Let's fix it. Come on. No. Don't let them settle down at your desk. Don't let them settle down and be miserable. Just laugh at them, and you start to feel better as well. That's how you get the number one players out of it. Okay? Try and make them a 10, yeah. But you've got to watch this, because the reason I've got this picture of her eyeball falling out is because I want you to think about visualization. Visualization, the reason I've got it on the list of things you've got to do every day is very important for all of you. You have to, they teach sports people to visualize. And I want to show you how important visualization is and how you can fool your brain. This is why I've got you visualizing your image of the things you want to have. I'd like you all to stand up, please. All stand up. And give yourself enough room. Find yourself a space. Put your feet about 30 centimeters apart, like this. And I want, how many right-handed people have we got here? Can you manage? You don't have to stand up if you... Sure? How many right-handed people have we got here? How many left-handed people? Any? Okay. Right-handed people are going to go around like this to the right. Left-handed people are going to go. Now watch me first. Right? I'm going to look as if I've got a rifle here. I'm going to look down. I'm going to keep my feet still on the ground. I really don't want you to hurt yourself. Right? Okay? Right hand of people are going to go right. So you're going to look down my finger, and I'm going to twist my body around, not move my feet, as far as I can. Now I can point to about 2/3 of the way through that flip chart and come back again. All of you do the same. Go on. If you're left-handed, go round to the left. Right-handed, go round to the right. Notice as far around as you can go what you're pointing at. Notice what you're pointing at. Notice it, mark it in your brain, and come back again. Okay, now I want you to drop your arm to your side and close your eyes, please. Now I'd like you to visualize doing that again. Don't move your body, just visualize doing it. Visualize your fingers gone up, you've twisted right round to that same point you reached before. But this time, in your mind's eye, I'd like you to imagine that you're able to go another 30 centimetres further round. Some of you another 40 centimetres. You can go much further round this time in your mind's eye. You're like an India rubber person from a circus. You can twist right around, much further around, and now you're looking at something else. I'd like you to notice what you're looking at in your mind's eye now. Notice what you're looking at that's much further round than you went before. Mark it in your mind, and in your mind come back to your front position as you were before, and open your eyes. Right, open your eyes, fingers up, go round as far as you can. Round as you can, go now. How many of you got further round? There? Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you why that is. Sit yourself down. Sit yourself down. The reason is that your brain and my brain, our human brains, all of us here, cannot differentiate between real and imagined events. Your brain puts as much emphasis and reality on a dream as it does on something that's really happened to you. And they teach sports people this. You listen to them talking to Johnny Wilkinson or David Beckham or Tiger Woods or any of these people, they all say in sports, if you want that ball to go into the goal, into the hole, all these guys who are top professionals all see it in their mind's eye before they putt it. If they see themselves doing it before they've actually done it, your brain is a very old thing. It knows a lot more about how to make those things happen. And when you visualize it enough times, the imagined event becomes a real event. So when you step up to the plate to do the real action, it says, oh yeah, you've done this before. You saw it yourself just a moment ago when I told you to imagine going around that way, to do it really. Now imagine doing it. Mark it in your brain, put a photograph in your brain, you've got much further around, open your eyes. Now that thought in your brain, that imagined thought, is just as real to your brain as the previous one you put in there. So when you come around to do it, you can suddenly go much further around because your brain says, you can do this. You did it before. So the reason, going right back to what I said to you 2 hours ago, the reason you've got to do this bit is very important. Visualize yourself having the things that you want and doing the things you want to do. See yourself in your mind's eye doing it. Whether it's bungee jumping, running a business, getting a big account, seeing a bigger number in your bank account, get this going in your brain. Get your brain used to seeing this. Your brain will take you where you want to go. Visualizing and this idea of an eyeball is very important. You heard the word vision. Now visualize. Where are you trying to get to in your life? Get that clear picture. For each one of your goals, visualize it when you get to that step. Then you can forget about it for the whole day. But I assure you, when you start to do this, things will start to happen to you. Things will start to happen. Why do you think that fizzy, all those fizzy drinks, why do you think we got the word fizzy first of all? Fizzy.
Movement.
Yeah, fizzy is physiology. I know it's not spelled right, but I just want you to remember. You're like, everybody we talk to, you sitting there listening to me now, you're picking up more from the way I've decided to feel than from any of the words I say. As I said to you earlier, women make this assessment of men very quickly on their sheer physicality. The message they get from their amygdala in their brain of what this male animal looks like. And it's a very accurate assessment. The way that man, that alpha male, has decided to feel. I mean, if I stand to you like this, like my mum always said, stand up, with your tummy in and your chest out, that looks like a bloody idiot. Right? You wouldn't think that was very powerful. But now I'm going to change and make myself an alpha male. Ready? Okay. Notice what I'm doing with my body. That makes me much more powerful. So if I came into the room, you'd say, oh, that's an important guy. Notice also what's happened to my voice. What's happened to my voice? It's got deeper. All us animals are programmed to believe that somebody with a deeper voice, who speaks more slowly, is a more powerful person. So if I said to you, hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. Say, oh God. See, you know I'm playing, but at some point in your animal brain, it's saying, oh, hello, I better find out more about this guy. Do you see what I mean? We can't, it's very difficult for us to override this thing. So get your physiology right. Make yourself feel, never talk to people with your arms folded, because you start to cut yourself off mentally from them. Charismatic people show the palms of their hands to other people a lot, have very open body language. A lot of ladies, when they make presentations on their businesses, do it like this, because they don't want the guys checking them out, as it were, in the nicest, politest way. But men are going to look at you if they don't. We're men, we can't help it. So the best presenters in the world, ladies who get up on stage, they're very open body language. Now, of course, the guys check them out in the audience because they're guys, but within 30 seconds they've forgotten that now that they're listening to a business person. Keep your body language, your physiology very open. Show the palms of your hands and talk to guys like this. Don't do all this when you're trying to get somebody to do something. Never ask them to do it like this, because you're cutting yourself off and then them from your communication. Right? Okay. Why do you think it's a question mark? Why do you think it forms a question mark? Yes, because I want you every day, it's a mystery, yes, but every day when you go through life, this is why I want you to ask yourself these questions in the morning. What am I looking forward to achieving today? How can I have fun doing this? How do I move when I'm unstoppable? If the day had been a great investment in my life, and how would I want to feel at the end of it? Because at the end of the day, I want you to ask yourself another set of questions. 3 more. What did I do well today? What would I repeat in a different way if I had to? If I had to do the same things again, in other words, what mistakes have I made? So what have I learned? That's the third question. What did I do well today? What would I repeat and do in a different way if I could? So what have I learned? And if you came to my flat now, you'd see on my bathroom mirror those questions on either side are ones I ask myself all the time. Why do you think we've got this big green leaf and a bee flying around it? It's because the way I get you to remember something we spoke about just now is belief. Belief. That's the only way I can get you to remember it. Bee and a leaf. Belief is very, very important for your success. If I take this chair, Matthew, come and sit in the chair. 2 ladies and 2 men is what I want. 2 ladies. And you've got flat shoes on, excellent. Somebody else has flat shoes. You've got flat shoes on as well. Yes, that's good. Both of you come up. And 2 men. 2 men. I don't mind who it is. Come on. 2 ladies, 2 men. What I want you to do, ladies, stand out the side of your knees. Either side of his knees. I don't know. Come over here. One of you stand here. One of you stand here. I want you to make your finger like kids used to do, and your brothers who had guns, like that. That's it. Now, you ladies, you're going to put your fingers under his knees. The 2 chaps, I'm afraid, they've got the more dirty job. We're going to put them under his armpits. You can wash your hands afterwards. He's a very clean chap, I know he is, right? But we're going to get this back. And what I want you to do is put your fingers under his armpits like that. Under his armpits. Okay? Ladies, put them under his knees. Lift him up. Up you go. No, let's put him down, put him down. Right. Okay, now I'm going to show you something really magic. That was quite tough, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Put your hand on top of his head. One hand. You can undo the gun now. One hand. Lady. Next hand. Next hand. Now do the pat cake. Go around again. Do it again. Your other hand on the... that's it. Oh, there we go. Right. Now, watch this. In a minute, I'm going to count backwards from 10 down to 1. Okay? When I get to 2, what I want you to do is to come away and put your fingers back under there. When I get to 1, I want you to lift them straight up. Be very careful. Right? Be very careful. Ready? We're all going to help him count backwards, right? While we're counting, I want you to push steadily down on his head, right? And concentrate. You have to concentrate. You ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey! Put him down, put him down. Come and sit down. Thank you very much. Hey, come on, thank you, thank you. Now, we'll take you to now, what was the difference is a very important little exercise. Thank you, chaps. Thank you, ladies and gents, very much. Wasn't that amazing?
Yes.
Did you find that? First of all, he was struggling because you had no belief. Then I gave you belief. How did I give you belief? What did I do?
Pressure.
I told you to press. I gave you little signals like don't hit his head on the ceiling and all that sort of business, right? I started to give you a feeling of that you could easily do it. Before I just said lift him up. Oh, I can't do it. Can't do so heavy. Then I said you're going to do this. Put your hands on his head. Listen, I've got to tell you, all that stuff about pushing down his head is all bullshit. It's simply, I could have done it just as easily by getting you to stand there going abracadabra, abracadabra, abracadabra 4 times. When you can do that and you go up. This is how fake magicians and people like that do it. And some of the remote tribes of Latin America and things like that, when the witch doctor points the bone at you, you're going to die in the morning. You have the belief that it's going to happen, and what happens? You die. Belief in anything, a religion or this, is simply a feeling of certainty. It's to do with the talk you have with yourself every day. You can have somebody like me along if you like to help you do that. You don't really need me. If the conversation you have with yourself is this looks heavy, he looks all it can be difficult, it becomes difficult. If I give you signals that say watch out for the ceiling, watch out what you're going to do, push down his head, bang, 1, 2, 3, you're going to lift him. Watch, look at that. He was like 200% higher than he was before. This is important stuff, having this belief. You don't need much of it. As it said in the Bible, as much as a grain of mustard seed is all you need. That's all you need. And most people don't have that much, so they don't succeed. Belief in yourself. And the conversations you have with yourself about whether you can or can't do something are very, very powerful. The visualization is very powerful. Do you need to do it 100% perfectly? You don't. Enough as a mustard seed and the visualization and everything else. That's enough. That's enough, as you just saw, to make all that difference. Look at him. He sailed up into the sky, wasn't it? You see? Why do you think?
And felt much lighter.
He did.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It is.
You were expecting it to be heavier, and it just...
But people go through life expecting life to be heavy, and it's not heavy once you start tackling it. Fear, do you know what fear stands for? F-E-A-R. Future events appearing real. Fictitious events appearing real. It's not real. As soon as you step up to your fear, it disappears. As soon as you go and ask that person for a sale or an order, and whether you get it or not, you feel better about it, don't you? It's like finding when you're a teenager, you finally ask that girl for a date, and she says, yeah, I think you never ask. Because women are sensitive to this more than men. She wants to go out and eat and chat to me, like, why isn't he asking? Because he's scared. Put that behind you. You're adults now. If you want to do something, meet somebody or do something, go straight up to them. Hi. Hello. What's your name?
Matthew.
I'm Bob. See? Oh, that was the guy I was scared of. He's just a man like me. He has to put on his trousers one leg at a time in the morning like I do. Do you see what I mean? Confidence, companies and your company as well, isn't run by somebody who is better than you. It's run by somebody who thinks they're better than you. It's all in your brain. Whether you're good or bad, or able or not able to believe you're able to do this or not able to do it. It's belief. Also, the reason we've got this bumblebee spitting out distilled water, I want you, anybody gives you an opinion on the business you're running or the thing you're selling, ask yourself, is what this person is telling me helping me in my business? Or are they just somebody who is like somebody I know, like a friend of mine, who is always putting me down? Do you know your friends? I'm going to bet you I've got friends who are always miserable. In fact, the chap I go flying with a lot, his name is, I'm going to give you his name because it might be on the video. He's a very nice chap, but he can always see the black side of life. He's a very nice, well-educated person, But if we go flying and we just take it off, you'll always say, oh, see, see it down over to Brighton there, it's looking a bit, those clouds don't look very good. It's a lovely blue day, lovely blue sky day, Richard. Ah, yeah, but it could turn. Yeah, yeah, you should let it know. And he will often say to me, well, which way should we land on this runway? We can see which way the other planes are landing. Well, what do you want me to do? Richard, it's your decision. It's your life. You know, on any other thing, well, you told me to do it. You know, just, when other people give you an opinion of your business or what you're going to do, your new idea for a business, think, is this idea helping me or hindering me? If it's one of your regular friends, they'll probably tell you every reason why it won't work. If now you took it to a wise old friend, somebody like me who's done 101 of these different businesses, or a Branson type character, or somebody you admire in your life, and you told them about it, they'd say, yeah, good idea, give it a whirl, let's see what happens. They won't put you down. They will never put you down. They will say, yeah, they'll always be very encouraging. So every day I want you to distill, when people are giving you opinions on things, is this helping me in my business, or is it hindering me? So think of distilled water. Distill everything down until it's something which is helping you to run your life, run your business. If it isn't helping you, ignore them. If their opinion isn't helping you, if they were so clever, I always think these people are trying to run my business and my life, if they were so clever, why aren't they multimillionaires? If they know so much, what are they doing? They're just a man in a pub who's giving me his opinion on life and everything else. That's all it is, or whoever I happen to meet. And some of them are very nice people. But they don't help me get what I want to get to, where I'm going to get to. They won't be pleased when you get there, I can tell you. When you get there, as I said to you earlier, they'll just say you were lucky. That's what they'll say to you. That's what they'll say to you. Now, why do you think we've got a terracotta pot with 10 seashells in it? It's because you've all got the potential, right, to become whatever you want to become. I'm not cleverer than you. Richard Branson isn't better than you. He's probably worse educated than any of you. But every one of us has the potential to be whatever you want to be. And it's up to you to set the markers. I mean, don't set your ideas of what you want to become as something stupid. I mean, don't say, I'm going to be like Superman and fly. I'm going to go and stand on the roof of that building over there, jump off and flap my arms and I'll fly. Because you're not going to happen that. You are going to die. Right? But if it's something that one human being is doing, then you could do it as well. People aren't magic out there, they just get on with it. Do you know scientists can prove that a bumblebee cannot fly aerodynamically? But nobody told the bumblebee, so it just gets on with it. You can actually prove scientifically that a bumblebee can't fly. And yet, you know, they've been doing it for a few million years now. Hey, you can't fly, no, I've done my calculations on my calculator, and you are going to crash and burn. Doesn't crash, it gets on with it. They've only recently discovered how a bumblebee does it, by the way, the last 2 years. Discovered how it does actually manage to fly, and we're amazed. It wasn't what they thought at all. See? You have the potential to be whatever you've got to be. Now, why do you think you've got this grizzly bear walking around in dancing shoes? Why do you think? Because here's something, when you're setting up your own project, whatever it happens to be, your business, everything else, it's what we call the dance model. First of all, have a very clear idea of what you're trying to do, your desired outcome. Right? Lo, be very clear what you're trying to do. Then, what actions could you take to make it happen? If you're trying to find some new customers, if you're trying to put your prices up, what could you do? And out of your list of 4 or 5 options, which you've usually got in my experience of business, take one of them. Take the best option, the best idea that you've got. But don't just stick to that, because you've got to notice what happens. Is this working or is it not working? If this new strategy isn't working, what do you think C stands for? Change. Change it. You'll be amazed how many people I meet who've decided on a business they want to run. They take this action, they say, I'll put up my website and wait for people to find it. It's not finding customers, and they don't do this bit. So then the business fails. It's very simple steps. Know exactly what you're trying to do, Decide on a list of actions you could take one of them, notice what's happening. If it isn't working, change it. And do something else, do the next action on your list, until you find something that works. And all the while, you're modeling yourself on excellence. Excellence. Something or a business you know that's in your field which is doing excellently well, what are they doing? If you're in retail, go and see what that Mary Porter's, what's she up to? How's she doing? How is that Peter Jones on the Dragon's Den? If I want to get into the mobile phone business, what's he doing? And don't tell me all the best ideas have gone. There's 101 ideas. The president of the New York Patent Office committed suicide in 1890. Do you know why? Because he said everything that was going to be invented had been invented. Way back in the 1970s, I think it was Steve Jobs who said that 1 megabyte ought to be enough for any computer. The managing director of IBM Business Machines in 1948 said that the total market for computers in the world was 10. All right? This is true. True stuff. Just because somebody hasn't invented it doesn't mean it doesn't need inventing. You go and do it. It hasn't been invented because most people are lazy. That's it. People aren't stupid, they're lazy. And you only have to work 10% harder than them to get 100% of the result as you just saw there. A tiny bit more effort is all you've got to put in. I've discovered that. I'm a lazy person. But I work a little tiny bit harder than other people. You'll be amazed what happens to your life as well.